Okay. How do I navigate? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Okay. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Let's continue learning Primary 5 English this evening. Today we'll be going through Rosyth Primary School P5 end of year paper. All right, and we'll start with grammar first. The first question goes: while John was playing soccer in the field, someone dashed his back. All right, so this question tests you on tenses, and we need to look at some keywords. John was playing, so this tells you it's already in the past tense, and someone dashed his back. Okay, with that in mind, let's take a look at some some of the options available. Stole is in past tense, steals is present tense and singular. Next, we have has stolen, which is in the present perfect tense, which basically means the action has been completed, but the effect is still felt. Next, we have had been stealing, which is in the past perfect continuous tense. This means that my action was ongoing when second action occurred. So we all know that it's in the past tense, okay, because was. So I will eliminate all those that are already stated that is in the present tense, which means 2 and 3 are out. Okay. Then I'm left with option 4 and option 1. Then the question is, which one do I choose? Right? So we need to take a look at what was playing actually means. Okay? Was playing over here is in the past continuous tense, which means that the action continued sometime in the past. Alright, so this means that I cannot give a specific time where this action, the playing of soccer occurred. Therefore, I will not be using option 4, but I will just go on with option number 1. Because option 4 here needs to have a specific time period. Okay? Yes, I slow speed. Very good. Your answer is correct. Okay? Option 1. And that will be my answer. Yes, that's good. Moving on to question 2. If the weather permits, the children will dash to the beach for a picnic. Okay, this question is tenses again. And we have the word if, which shows condition. It's a conditional. Okay. Next, the children dash to the beach for a picnic. The weather permits. This is in present tense. Okay, let's take a look at my options. Go is in present tense and it's plural. Will go is simple future tense, which means that the action will take place soon. Had gone is in past perfect tense, which means that one action occurred before second action took place. Okay. Lastly, we have gone. Have gone is in the present perfect. Present perfect means that the action has been completed at the time of speaking. But effect still felt. Okay. So in this case, the effect will be derived through your keywords. For example, I have read the news and want to know more. It's very clear that you have already finished reading the newspapers. But I will use this because the curiosity is still ongoing, which is the effect. Okay? And that will be when I use have gone. Now, looking back at this question here, if shows conditional, which means that it will only happen in the future. So because of that, we will use future tense, which is will go. Okay, therefore my answer here would be number 2. Okay, so good job, K Ling Chua. All right, I slow speed to address your concern. Our grammar and paper, the going through of the paper, we are looking at how we are going to ensure everyone can learn. So I will still go through every option. It's not about getting the correct option now. It's about understanding the grammar rule and vocab behind how you get your option. Okay? So option 3 goes, at the bus stop, Mrs. Tan saw the robber dash an old lady's handbag before running away. So over here, we are interested in tenses. Okay? So let's take a look at some keywords. Mrs. Tan saw the robber. So over here, this is already past tense. All right? Now, let's take a look at the options given. The first one is snatch. Snatch here is in present tense and plural. Okay? Snatchers, present tense, singular. Next, we have snatch, which is in past tense. And lastly, we have was snatching. Was snatching is in the present perfect tense. This means that The action took place in the time of speaking, but effect still felt. Okay? I shall not go through this further. It was mentioned earlier. Now, I can see that many of you have put option 3, which is snatch. But I just want everyone to remember that for this question here, the verbs of perception rule comes into play. As such, my answer for question 3 will be 1. Okay? I repeat again, the answer for question 3 is number 1. Okay? Why is it so? Because of verbs of perception. This means that there are two verbs in the sentence, 1 and number 2. When my first verb has got to do with sight, you saw something, you observe something, etc., your second verb here needs to be in the base form. Okay? As such, the answer will be number 1 for this question, even though we identified past tense over here. Okay? So I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information before we move on further. Okay? Yeah, thanks. A bit disruptive. Thanks. All right. Moving on. Question 4 goes. Most of the students, except Judy, dash going to watch the fireworks this weekend. Okay. For this question here, we are interested in subject-verb agreement. Okay. Let's take a look at the keywords first. Most students, you can count them plural. Except Judy, and the next one is this weekend, which is the future tense, which is in the future. So this means that we need to use present tense. So it is very straightforward here. Present tense plural, number 2, are. Okay. Okay. Yes, this is a P5 end of year exam for Rosyth Primary School. Okay, moving on to question 5. I think Sue or her group mates dashed the first aid kits, the class monitor told his teacher. Okay, we are interested in tenses again. Then let's take a look at the keywords. Told, past tense. Okay, let's take a look at the options now. Take is in present tense and plural. Takes with an S is present tense singular. Then we have has taken and have taken. These two are in the same form, which is present continuous, present perfect continuous. Okay. So this means that the action began in the past and is still continuing now. Okay. So for question 5 here, the act of taking the first aid kits, or rather the effect has already happened. That means the first aid kit is already not present at where the class monitor is. So that effect is still ongoing. Next, when we look at the people here, Sue or her group mates, we'll look at the one closer to my blank. So this is plural. So it will be number 4, have taken. Okay? Moving on. The man dash the police commanded yesterday had rescued a drowning boy. Over here, we are looking at two things, man and police. So who is the subject of the sentence? The police, because they did the action, which is commended or praised. And who is the object of the sentence? The man. Okay, these are my two keywords when I want to approach this pronoun question. So let's take a look at my options. Who is in the subject form? That means it replaces the subject of the sentence, which is for non-human beings. Whom is for object form. That means I replace the object of the sentence. And whose is in the possessive form. So for example, Ali, whose wallet was stolen, make a police report. So you can see here that the wallet that I'm interested in is owned by Ali. That's why I use the possessive form. So in this case, my pronoun here is used to refer to the man, which is the object of the sentence. So the answer would be whom, okay, because that's in the objective form. So very good, rainy days. That will be the answer. Moving on, we have question 7. The basketball school team witnessed dash improvement in their teamwork after their coach had given them a pep talk. Okay, for this question here, we are interested in your determiners. Determiners here refer to your words that allow you to show quantity. Much, many, yada, yada, yada. Okay? So you can see that the coach had a pep talk, which basically improved their morale. So the improvement here must be of quite a high quantity. With that in mind, let's take a look at my keywords. Okay, I'll go through the more relevant one first. Many is countable, much is uncountable. And as all of you know, you can't measure just improvement. This is uncountable. So the option that we are looking at is number 4, much. Okay. So very good, K Ling Chua and rainy days. Now for few is countable. I have a few coins with me. And little is uncountable. The boy put in little effort in his homework. Okay. Next, let's look at question 8. Question 8 reads, you dash lose your valuables unless you keep them in the locker. Mother advised Cody. So we are looking at some modal auxiliary verbs here. These verbs basically want to express a certain feeling or a certain emotion when you are talking. Alright? So you can see mother advised Cody to that there's this possibility. That means not 100% that this thing will happen, but it is still something that may happen if Cody is careless. Okay, I can see some of you put 4, then you have 1. Now, may here shows possibility. Okay, that means something may happen. Should tells me it's an obligation. So you can see over here, mother, what's the keyword? Advice. Advice means that you can reject the advice. Mother never instruct Cody. So there isn't any obligation here. Alright? Must here shows obligation as well. Must and should, they are the same. Shall here means that you have the intention to do something. So when you have shall, it usually starts with I shall with my action, not you. Okay? So in this case, the closest answer we have is number 1, may. Okay? Because it expresses possibility. So good job, Zakwan, rainy days. Yep. Okay, that will be our answer for question 8. Now, question 9 reads, everyone should learn to differentiate dash facts and fake news, as there are many sources for online news nowadays. Yes, Vion 82, this is P5. P5 Rosyth Primary School, end of year. Okay? Now, everyone is very fast. That's good. This is prepositions. And we are looking at, there's a word and here. So this will tell me what is this. So among the options, when we want to use when we want to have the word and, it will be with between. Okay, these two words always come together. Now let's take a look at the other options for your learning. For shows that you are in support of somebody. I'm at the stadium I'm at the stadium for the support of my favorite football club. From tells me a source. I bought my chicken rice from the supermarket. Among tells me between more than 2 things. Among the boys and girls in the class, Ali is the smartest. And between is used for 2 things. That's why we can use the word and to separate them apart. Alright? Now moving on, we have question 10. Dave and Tom can get along very well with each other. Dash, they have many differences in their interest. Over here, we are interested in conjunctions or your linking words. Let's take a look at the keywords. They can get along very well, but you can see that there's a contrast. There are many differences in their interest. So the word that we'll use to show contrast is option 3. And therefore, we will use this as our answer. Now, let's take a look at the other options. So is used for cause effect. The train broke down, so I was late. Since here is used to show a time period or a reason. What do I mean? The shop has been open since 6 a.m. Or I also can say, to show reason, it could be, since the boy was ill, he did not go to school. Because is also used for reasoning. I was late because the train broke down. Alright? So with that, we have finished 10 questions of grammar. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information before we move on. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at our vocabulary now. Question 11 reads, due to the Formula One race, traffic in the city area had to be dashed. So we are looking at how there's a big event, and this event will use the roads, and therefore the traffic cannot use the road. Right? The first one is diverted. Divert means that you need to change direction of travel. Okay. Next, we have adjusted, which means that you alter something to achieve your desired goal. So maybe you altered you adjusted your strategy. Okay, for example, interrupt means you stop the continuous process of something. Intercept means you obstruct something to prevent it from traveling to destination. So this one is usually the police. They intercept the cargo shipment of illegal substances, for example. Okay. So in this case, because we are looking at how the traffic cannot use the F1 route, they need to change their course of travel, which is diverted. Okay, so our answer will be number 1. Next, question 12 reads, the tsunami left a trail of dash in the village as many homes were reduced to rubble. So the interesting part is reduced to rubble. That means the homes were not even standing. They were all in a mess. They're all destroyed or demolished, right? So let's take a look at the options. Wastage means that you lose or destroy something by using it carelessly. Fragments means that a small part broke off from something. Next, we have demolition, which means that you destroy a building. Okay, and lastly, we have destruction. Destruction means you cause so much damage you cannot repair it. Okay. So in this case, we're looking at how the extent of damage is very severe. You can't even rebuild something that's already in all your small little pieces because it's destroyed already. As such, my answer for this would be destruction. Okay, so number 4. Moving on, let's look at question 13. We had a memorable dash at the school camp. Our tent collapsed in the rain and we had fun scrambling to find shelter. So you can see that they had fun. This is the important thing. That means they enjoyed it. The first one is contact. Contact basically means you have physical touch. Next, we have recount. Recount basically means you describe a story to someone. And usually this story is something you experienced before. Number 3 is anecdote. Anecdote means a short, amusing story. So the keyword here is amusing. That means you feel entertained. You feel happy. You want to laugh at this story. Okay? Experience means that an event that leaves impression on somebody. which means that the event was very memorable, which is what we are looking for in this question. Therefore, for question 13, my answer will be number 4. Okay? Now, moving on, let's look at question 14 now. The young athlete was found guilty of drug abuse and was dashed of his gold medal. Okay, over here, we are looking at how the athlete did something that was wrong, and therefore his achievement was not recognized. Okay? So let's take a look at the options. The first one is waived. Waived means that you do not demand something. So for example, I can say that my electrical fees were waived because I could not pay for them. That means the power company never come after me to demand the bills anymore, right? Next one is strip. Strip means that you remove something from somebody. Can be things like your clothes, can be achievements. Decline here means that something decreases in quantity. And dispose means that you throw away something. All right. So you can see here that the gold medal is some sort of achievement. So if you want to remove this achievement, we will use number 2. You strip somebody of his title or his gold medal in this case. Okay? And that will be my answer. Let's go on to question 15 now. Sam and Jody dashed with each other during their discussion because they had a disagreement. So over here, we look at how there was a disagreement. So probably they hated one another after the argument. Okay? So let's take a look at some of the options. Got by means that you deal with a situation with little resources. So maybe you can say that the beggar got by with just 1 meal a day. Fell out here means that you argue and stop being friends. Took on means that you assume a difficult responsibility. Okay? And put through means that you survive a dangerous situation. So you can see that from the context, they had a disagreement. So probably there was some argument and they don't want to talk to one another already. So the closest option we have is number 2. It means you fell out with one another. All right? So that will be my answer for question 15. I just give everyone some time to take in the information before we move on to the next question. If there are no further questions, we'll look at the vocabulary close now. Alright, so what we'll do for the vocabulary close is as such. I'll first go through the text and we will discuss the meanings of the underlined words. Once we have an understanding of the text, then we'll look at the questions individually, and there are 4 options. Alright? Okay, looking at the text. Walking down the street, Ava saw that many people were too busy to look up. They were fixated on their mobile phones. Fixated over here means that there is an obsessive attachment to something. Ava decided she had to do something about this. She looked around and saw a lady sitting on a bench, scrolling on her phone. She walked over to the lady before plucking up the courage to ask her a question. So plucking up here basically means you summon or you put together all the resources you have. Okay? What do you call a Labrador that can do magic? Ava asked, waited in anticipation for the answer. Anticipation here means that you expect something. The lady looked up at Ava and said, I don't know. I'm curious to know the answer. Ava was pleased that she was able to get the lady's attention. A labracadabrador. She grinned and waited to see the response to the punchline. So you can see response here means that you react to something. Okay. There was a glint in the lady's eyes as she smiled. Ava knew that she had to keep going. She cracked another joke. Laughter echoed around them as the lady dropped her phone and clutched her tummy. Echoed here means that there was a reflection of sound. Alright? Okay. With that in mind, let's take a look at let's take a look at the questions individually. Alright? First up, we have question 16. Question 16 is about fixated, which means that you are attached to something or you're obsessed with something. Alright? So first one is you are attracted to. So that means you approach somebody or something by appeal. That means something, the characteristics of that person make you curious about that person or thing. Immerse means you submerge something in water. Engross in, that means something is so interesting, you give all your attention. Concern about means you are worried or anxious about something. So in this case, because you are so obsessed with something, we will usually say you are engrossed, because it has that impression that you have all your attention 100% on the particular thing, which is the handphone in this text. Alright? Next, we have plucking up. Plucking up means you put together something or you summon something all together. So let's take a look. We are seizing, that means you grab hold of something forcibly. Clutching, which means that you hold something tightly. Collecting, which means that you gather or you bring something together. And mastering, which means that you produce emotion or preparation for something. Alright? So in this case, what we are interested in is how you want to pluck up all your courage. That means you want to have that emotion to tell yourself, I can do it, I can do something. So in this case, the answer that is most closely related would be you master your courage. Okay, which is number 4. Yeah, so good. Vion 82 and Zakwan. All right. Okay, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information first before we move on further. All right. For question 18 here, we are looking at anticipation. That means you expect something. First, we have alertness. Alertness means you are trying to see and understand a situation. Next, we have enthusiasm. Enthusiasm here means that you have an intense enjoyment of something. Okay. Next is expectation. Expectation means that you have a strong belief something will happen. Lastly, consideration means careful thought. All right. And in this case, we are very interested in how you expect someone to answer Ava. So the closest option that we have is number 3, expectation. Okay, so that will be my answer. Now, question 19 is about response. That means your reaction to something. So let's see whether there's any. You can see over here that it's really one direct synonym. So in this case, we are very fortunate to have just this answer. Okay, but I'll just go through everything else for our learning. The first one, reply. Reply means that you have a verbal answer to someone. Gesture means that you move your body part. A reaction is basically a response to a situation. Lastly, we have feedback. Feedback means information about product or uh, improvement. So you just want people to get better. Then we will say feedback. All right. Lastly, we have question 20, which is echoed. Echoed basically tells you something is being reflected. Your sound is being reflected most of the time. So let's take a look. This question is quite tricky. We have resonated. Resonated means you are filled with a deep, take note, reverberating sound. So it's a very low kind of sound, not a normal voice. Okay, reflect means you throw back the sound. Throw back the sound, the light waves or the sound waves in this case. Okay. Then you have rumbled. Rumbled here means there's a basically means a very deep resonant sound. So it's a very low voice kind of thing. Then you have roared. Basically, it's a wild animal. Deep and prolonged sound. Okay. So in this case, we're looking at how the laughter reverberated or the laughter echoed. So it's basically just the hoo hoo and hee hee. So the closest option that we have is resonated. Okay, which is number 1. All right, with that, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information of our vocab close. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me before we move on to our grammar close section. All right, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at our grammar close. All right, let's go. Tigers have orange fur with black stripes. This helps them blend in dash their surroundings. So you can see that we are looking at how the surroundings and the tiger can have similar characteristics. So they are complementary to one another. So with. Okay. Hello, Real Madrid. It also makes it easier dash them to hunt and catch their food. So you can see here that they are having it easier in certain aspects. So these are my elaboration. So I'll use the word easier for them to catch their food. Okay. Tigers are excellent hunters and can take down large animals such dash deer and wild boar. So over here we are looking at certain examples. So the word we always use is such as. All right. Sadly, tigers dash on the verge of extinction. Take note, the sentence after say data has, which is present tense, tiger and excellent are excellent hunters and can, these are all in present tense. So we will say correct. Very good, Vion. So it will be B. Data has shown that there are dash a few of them left. So we are going to try to emphasize their small quantity. We will use only. Okay, small quantity. There are two main reasons: habitat loss and poaching. As human population continues to grow, their homes are being destroyed as dash land is needed for farming and building cities. You can see here that this land refers to the habitat and is also the same land that is needed for these two activities. So it's a very specific noun. So in that case, we would say the land, not a land. Okay. So for 34, okay, another reason is because you can see that the human population continue to grow. So this one increases. So the land will naturally also increase. So we would say more land. All right. This has resulted in less space for them to live dash. So for question 35 here, we are looking at how the land is a specific location for them. So we will always use in. Poachers hunt tigers for dash fur and other body parts. So you can see the fur and the body parts here belong to the tiger. So we will say you want to hunt for that because it's owned by the tiger. Fur and body parts. Okay, very good, Vion. Thanks for following. Many governments are trying to stop the poaching and illegal trade of tiger parts. Individuals dash play a part in helping the tiger. So over here, we are looking at how there's a possibility of doing this that all of us can do. So we'll say individuals can play a part. All right. This includes spreading awareness dash the importance of protecting tiger. This should be CE, importance. Okay. So if you look at this, we're interested in, you can see that the awareness is being elaborated here. So this is extra info. So we'll say about the importance. Okay. And there we have it. The grammar close for Rosyth Primary School. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared before we move on to the next section. All right. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them in the chat section. All right, moving on, let's take a look at our editing. Okay. Lilia was a new student in school who had just joined Mindy's class. Mindy welcomed her without hesitation. So we are looking at a spelling error here. Hesitation. Okay. Alright, I think hesitation is spelled without the double S. Yes. Good. And soon became friends with her as they spend more time together. So you can see that this is in past tense already. So it should be as they spent more time together. Mindy realized that Lilia had difficulty adjusting Dash's life at the new school. So you can see that there's this habit here. So when you want to adjust, you adjust to the habit. This is a preposition error. Okay? And often felt lonely despite how many attempts, spelling error, to make friends. Due to Mindy's caring nature, she helped Lilia dash at ease with her new school environment. So over here, we are looking at how she helped Lilia feel at ease. Okay? And environment is spelled wrongly again. So there we have it, the correct spelling. She brought Lilia to explore the neighborhood near their school. Dash, there was time. When we look at time, it needs to be whenever for the specific time period. All right. Mindy also invited Leah to attend various activities organized by the student council. To widen. Okay. As a result, they had more opportunities to make new friends. Okay, so this is how you spell opportunities. Okay, very good. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information. Sorry, still have two more. Each time Leah shared stories about her previous school, Mindy and her classmates were around to listen attentively. Thanks to Mindy, Lilia eventually loved going to school and both became good friends. Okay? Yeah, thank you, Vion and Exo. Alright, I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared before we move on to the next section. Now, I'd just like to, at this point, just share with everybody the kind of questions that you can encounter in your editing, right? The first one is your spelling error. The second is your grammar. Don't worry, I'm not going to share the same thing I shared earlier. Okay? And then we have word form. Spelling. Now I just like to everyone to focus on certain words that are commonly misspelled. Curious and curiosity. There's an OUS at the back here, OUS, but curiosity is just RIO. Please take note. Next, surprise is spelled with a R here. A lot of students always miss out this R. Then conscious is spelled with an S in the middle of N and C. So please take note of these commonly misspelled words. Not forgetting our favorite word, opportunity, that always repeats in a lot of exams. Now, for grammar, I'll not harp too much on it. The only problem that students face are prepositions. Along is used to show your position relative to a straight path. Then we also have between and among. As explained earlier, between is for two objects and among is for more than two objects, so three and more. Okay, so I hope everybody can remember these few common prepositions. Then we also have from, which shows a source, and by, which can also mean a source. Yes, okay. Yeah, all the best is exact ASF. Why? So this is what I want to focus on. The rest can be practiced in your MCQ for grammar. So I'm not really that worried for you. Lastly is the word form. This one is very tricky because we have adjective to verb, sorry, adjective to noun and verb to noun. So many students only can convert the noun to the verb and adjective, but not the other way around. So I just want everyone to be aware. Okay. So one word is I believe you. So the noun is believe with an F at the back, which is something not really common. Okay, believe with a VE and a EF. An adjective could be he was sad. Your noun will be sadness. Or for example, he was like a more difficult one. He was pious, which means that he takes care of his parents versus his piety. Okay, these are just some of the different permutations they can test you on. All right. So just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared, especially the tips and tricks before we move on. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's take a look at comprehension close now. The Singapore Botanics Gardens is a well-known attraction. It spans an dash of nearly 1 square kilometers and is known for its collection of different plant species. So over here, we have this measurement given to us. This measurement here is for area. It's mathematics. It is a popular attraction for locals and tourists from dash over the world. So you're saying we are looking at how it's always all over the world to show the variety of tourists. There's only one answer for 52. Visitors do not need to purchase any tickets as entry is dash of charge for all visitors. So you can see this is also quite a giveaway. Do not need to purchase any ticket. So it is free of charge. Right? It's also N, so it's gonna be a vowel. Yes, very good. Good spot here. So N means that the next one will be a vowel. In 2017, the learning forest in the Botanic Gardens dash open. You can see this is past tense. It's a very straightforward subject-verb agreement. So it was open. This is the first space in Singapore where members of the public can explore both wetlands and lowland forests in the same venue. Visitors get to walk in the dash cars by the forest giant trees. Okay, this one is a bit tricky because we have cars and the giant trees. So over here, when we talk about cars, when we talk about cars, it usually with regards to light. All right. When we talk about trees, the trees are very tall and they block the light. Right. So when they block the light, what do you have? You have shadows. So for this case, the answer is shadows. Some of these trees dash up to 20-story in height. So you can see here that trees are very tall. They already say giant trees. And they can tell you a particular height that they can grow up to. That means this is the max they can grow. So we will say some of these trees grow up to 20-story high buildings. Alright? Visitors can also dash down quite comfortably across a bed of rope to gaze at the canopy leaf. So we are looking at how the this exhibition is higher than the trees. That's why they can look down. See? They can gaze. So the gaze here, that means your eye is looking something below you. So you will say look down. Okay? I'm sorry. The next clue that we miss out is a bed. So when you have a bed, you will not look down but lie down. Okay? Beyond for is growth the only acceptable answer. What other answers do you have? What answer do you have for 56? For Elo, walk down quite comfortable. Cannot, because over here they talk about visitors can also walk down quite comfortably. Well, for question 57, I'll say the word bed over here means that you need to use the word lie. You can't walk down a bed. Right? Then Veron 82 wants to put these trees are up to 20-story in height. For this question here, we're interested in a verb that needs to be more specific. So my advice is you give a word, an action word will be better than just giving okay? lie across. No, you also can lie down. The trigger is not the word across, but rather the word bed here. Okay. To restore the site to dash previous condition. So we are looking at the site, which is a non-human, so it will be to its previous condition. Most of the native and mature trees were either retained dash transplanted near their original spot. So we are looking at two different strategies to ensure the previous condition, and they are alternatives to one another. So we will use or. All right. Many Singaporeans had been dashed forward to visiting the learning forest. So you can see they want to visit, and there's a word forward here. That means they are very excited. So I've been looking forward. All right. Next, we're looking at how this particular location took 3 years to be constructed. So we want to talk about this non-human, we'll say which took nearly 3 years, or that took nearly, that also can. All right. Right. Sorry for the technical difficulties. We'll just wait for more of our friends to join before we continue the live. Right. Yeah, I'll just give everybody a few more moments to join before we move on with our complete close. All right. It seems that we'll slowly let more of our friends join us later, but let's continue with our complete close first. So we are talking about this text on the Singapore Botanical Gardens and how they have this new learning forest, right? So we'll talk about how this new learning forest is a newly open, and we are looking at the details regarding this, right? All right. All right. Moving on, we have the learning forest. The size of a 15 football field is now home to more dash 700 species of flora and fauna. So we are looking at more something 700. We are looking at how this is bigger than this number essentially. So it will be more than Okay, a network of walkways dash the visitors to easily explore different sections of the forest. So we are looking at how this walkway allows certain things to happen, right? There's easy access. So we will say a network of walkway allow, or you can say enable the visitors, right? If there are any other similar answers, please sound out. The what hours are from 5 o'clock in the morning to midnight. So over here, we're looking at how the time period where you can visit the place. That's also known as the opening hours, right? However, certain sections are dashed from 7 p.m. to 7 a.m. and visitors are not allowed to access during this time. So when we talk about sections, we are looking at how they are likely to be closed. Or you can say they are restricted. That means people cannot go there, right? And with that, we have come to the end of our complete close. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information shared before we move on to the next section. Alright, if there are no further questions, let's move on to synthesis and transformation. My sister would rather swim than watch television. So over here, we need to rank the activities. The first one is swim, second one television. And when we have prefers, we need to have two. So activity 1 will come first before activity 2. My sister prefers swimming to watching television. Okay, so this will be our answer. This is one of the more straightforward questions. Next, Jack did not run across the road as he feared for his safety. So basically, we are looking at rewriting the end part of the sentence to the front, and we can view this as a cause and effect. The effect is he never run across the road, and the cause is because he feared for his safety. So when you want to link a cause and an effect, you always need a comma in between. So fearing for his safety, Jack did not run across the road. Okay. The next thing is on reporter speech here. We were surprised to hear the fire alarm, said the students. So we are looking at 3 key activities. Highlight the keywords, edit, and you write your answer. Okay, HEW. So first thing, we need to change. Were surprised, here. Okay, the students had been surprised to hear the fire alarm. Okay, to hear that fire alarm. Okay, so my answer will be the students said that they were surprised. Sorry, they have been surprised to hear that fire alarm. Okay. Okay, moving on. This is known as your active to passive voice kind of question. So when you encounter this question, the idea is to identify your subject and object of the sentence. How do you know what's a subject? The subject is doing an activity, so the verb will be linked to your subject. So the police have rounded up the suspect. So you can see the rounding up was conducted by the police. Therefore, my police is the subject, and my other human being will be the object of the sentence. So what I'm doing when I change an active to a passive voice is the object will now become the subject of the sentence, and my subject will become the object. So when you have this change, you need to have the word by the followed by the former subject, which is the police. So we just need to add the missing words inside. The suspect was rounded up by the police. And there we go. There we have it. Okay. Lastly, we have question 17. Cindy was relieved that her flight had not been delayed. So we are looking at a change of word form from relief with an ed to relief. So it will be much to her relief, Cindy's flight had not been delayed. Okay. So with that, we've come to the end of our Rosyth Primary School paper. I'll just give everyone some time to take in the information I just shared before we call it a day. So if you have any questions, please feel free to write them in the chat and we will discuss. If not, thank you for joining me today. If you would like to learn more of English with us at Writers at Work, do check our link in bio, and we would and you will be able to find you will be able to find out the schedule. Okay, for Monday morning tomorrow it will be me, teacher Nathan, and in the afternoon it will be another teacher. Okay. Now for CT, why in? Which question? Which question are you referring to, CT? I don't have the context of your question, CT. If you can tell me which question we are referring to, then we can discuss. All right. Okay. There are no further questions, then we'll call it a day. Thank you, everybody. Bye bye.